Hey guys, it's Kelly. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be my May wrap up. I read 11 books in the month of May. I did not plan on reading that much because May, at the beginning of May, was such a busy month for us. I want to show you the books. I've read 3 books with my kids this month. I participated in my first readathon. I participated in the buzzword readathon, with the buzzword being girl, and that was hosted by Books and Lala and Dylan the Reader. First book I read was a review copy for the month, and I got this book from Tyndale Blog Network. I will link that down below along with my review on my blog, and it is Things I Never Told You by Beth K. Voigt. It was okay. It's about this girl who was a twin, and her twin died in an accident, and she has to go back to her family because one of her sisters is getting married, and she's a caterer, event planner. That's her business, and she has to keep the secret that she knows what happened during the accident, and the guy that owned the property where the accident took place, he comes back into her life and he wants to apologize to her family and all that stuff. So it's her just keeping a secret for 10 years and it just weighing her down, and the sister coming back to talk to her in her dreams and all this stuff. So I don't remember what I rated it. I think a 3 or 4. I'll put my rating down at the bottom. I'm going to show you the 3 books that I read during the readathon. Technically I read 2.5. I didn't finish one of them until the day after the readathon ended. But the first one that I read was Anne Frank, The Diary of a Young Girl. If you saw my TBR video, you know that the first time and only time I read this was in middle school, 5th grade, I think. And I wanted to reread it because I never finished it. If you read it when you're a teenager, you don't know how sassy Anne Frank really was. She had an attitude. And yeah, while I was reading it, before I got to a certain part, I was like, if she survived the concentration camps, would she have wanted her diary to be published? Would she want all her thoughts out there? And then I got to the part where she wanted to be a writer, and I just swooned. And yeah, I am going to find the movie that was made. I watched a movie in 5th grade, and I think it has Sir Ben, what's his name? But it's a dude who's been in a whole bunch of movies, great actor. I'll be right back. I'm back. It's Sir Ben Kingsley. Oh, come on. The actor is Sir Ben Kingsley. He plays Otto Frank in the movie. So I'm going to watch that. Yeah. And then next time I read it will be when Samantha hits 5th grade. Y'all know that I want to read my World War II fiction books this summer, and another one that I picked up for the buzzword readathon is The Girl from the Train by Irma Jobert. This is written by a South African author, and it was translated from Afrikaans. I think I'm saying that word right. Afrikaans. They're the South African language. Afrikaans. AFRIKAANS. I think I'm pronouncing that right. If not, I apologize. But it's about a little girl who escapes from a deportation train. with her sister. Her grandmother and mother drop her from, they get her out of a train, and then the train blows up and the little girl gets found in a forest and by this man named Jacob, who I swooned over the entire time. I love Jacob. And she has to hide all of her life. She has to pretend that she doesn't know German. She can't be German because she'll be hated. She can't be Jewish because she'll be hated. She's a German Jew. Her dad was an SS officer who was killed, and she lived in a ghetto, and then she got put on a concentration camp train with her sister and her mother and her grandmother, and she escapes. And so Jacob takes her to his family home until the end of the war, and then his mom says that she's got to go. There's a new baby coming in, and they can't afford to feed her mouth, and she's not family. So he ends up taking her to a orphanage where German orphans from the war are getting adopted by wealthy South African families. So she has to hide that she can't be Jewish. She can't speak Polish. She has to speak German, and yeah. And then she grows up, and then the ending was just amazing. I gave this a 5 out of 5. And then I read, the next full book that I read during the Buzzword Readathon was Girls in Pants by Anne Brashares. This is the third summer of the sisterhood. And in my TBR video, I said that I was caught up. I knew the storyline because of the movies. Yeah, I did not know that the second movie consisted of content from the second book, third book, and the fourth book. Like, for real? And yeah. But I still enjoyed it. I was rooting for Bea and Eric the entire time. Lena and Kostas was breaking my heart. I'm going to be reading the fourth book this month. Lena wants to go out. No! You're not going out. It's too hot. But yeah. I don't remember when I gave this either, but I'll leave it on the screen. This is the book that I didn't finish reading during the Buzzword Readathon. I'm not sure. I'll have to look, but I think I read half of this during the Buzzword Readathon, and then I finished it the day after. I'm going to show you the books that I read with the kids this month. First one was Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. I got the Puff and Chalk edition, and they just loved it. And the whole time I was reading it, they was like, "That's not in the movie. Why wasn't this in the book? That's in the movie." It was just this. It was ridiculous, but they loved it. I don't know what I gave it. This was my first time reading it. Alice's Adventures in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. We read the Magic Misfits by Neil Patrick Harris. Loved this. I got the Target edition, and it included a little excerpt from the twins called The Twin Trick. And I cannot wait to read book 2 coming out in September. Book 2 is called Purple, so. But yeah, and it has magic tricks, or to teach you how to do magic tricks, because Neil Patrick Harris is a magician. And so it's about this little boy named Carter. He is running away from his uncle because his uncle is a thief who hides behind magic tricks. And so Carter runs away and jumps on this train and goes to the city called Mineral Wells. And there's a carnival going on. And he sees a bunch of clowns stashing stolen items into a train car. So wherever he went, he couldn't get away from thieves. So then he meets this man in a top hat. Then he meets the daughter. Then he meets this other boy who does magic with a violin. And it's just, hello, can I help you? Want to view my video? No? Come here. Come here. Come here. Want to see? Want to say hi? Lena! Look at you. Can I help you? Why are you climbing on things? Just to be a oh. That fly will come back on you. Okay. But yeah, it's about this little boy who does magic tricks, who doesn't believe in magic. And it's about spoiling this evil man's plot to steal something expensive. And y'all are gonna watch Luna. I know. But yeah, I gave this a 4 out of 5, 5 out of 5, I think. I liked it. I really enjoyed it. Go Neil Patrick Harris. And it made me think of when he played the ringmaster in a series of unfortunate events. It reminded me a lot of that, and my foot's asleep and it hurts. So the next book that I read with the kids was Alistair the Looking Glass by Lewis Carroll. I didn't really enjoy it. It didn't make much sense. It seemed like a bunch of stories jumbled together. And it was complete nonsense, which is supposed to be. So it's about Alice meeting the Red Queen, White Queen, and Tweedledee and Tweedledum's in it. So, and the movie is completely different. I enjoyed the movie more than a book, so that's saying something. And this is a classic, but yeah, the kids enjoyed it. Me, not so much. So I'll put my rating on the bottom. I have 4 more books to show you. I want to show you another book that I wanted to get to during the readathon and I just didn't, but I still wanted to read it this month. And it was The French Girl by Alexi Elliott. This is about this group of people. I'll read it back to you. Okay, for 6 university friends, an idyllic week in a French farmhouse was the perfect getaway until they met Severine. Her unexpected appearance unraveled them and changed everything, and then she was never seen again. Now, a decade later, Severine's body is found in the well behind the farmhouse, and the case is reopened. Questioned along with her friends in the invasive murder investigation, Kate Channing stands to lose everything that she's worked to achieve. Desperate to reserve her own shifting memories and fearful she will be forever bound to the woman whose presence still haunts her, Kate will find herself buried under layers of deception with no one to set her free. So, this is just like every other mystery thriller. It ends up being one of the people, but not the main character. So, Kate Channing, she's being visited by the ghost of Severine, and right away you think, well, if she's being visited by the ghost, she had to have done it. I thought that too. And then I read a part where one of the women who is shady and manipulative and just straight up sassy and mean figured out she done it way just by one description. And then the rest of the book, it just piles the evidence against her. So, Kate has opened her own business of a legal headhunter, and she has two best friends, I think, Tom and Lara. And they drink a lot. So, are you going to sit with me? Okay. They drink a lot. They're always drinking, and Caro, the one who I think done it, she is throwing these parties for Seb, who was Kate's boyfriend at the time. And throughout the whole book, Caro is trying to pin the murder on Kate and paint her as the spurned, jealous girlfriend because Seb was hanging around Severin like a lost puppy dog. So, it was okay. It was like every other thriller mystery. Then I read a favorite, Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. I loved this book. Right after I got done reading it, I immediately looked up the second one, which is going to be called Children of Virtue, Vengeance and Virtue, I think. I think that's what it's called. Children of Vengeance and Virtue? Virtue and Vengeance? I don't know. But Zeely and Amari and Amon. Amon is a douche canoe. I hate him with passion. I hope he died. The main problem that people had with this book was the insta-love. I didn't see it as insta-love. I saw it as a mutual attraction. Because they were in this problem. They were in this predicament that they were on the run for their lives, trying to get something put right again. And they were stuck together. So you can't help but know there is an attraction there. You can't be mad about that. So it wasn't insta-love because he does something at the end that would make me pissed off too. And I'm hoping in the second book that it's not, that it is a slow burn. Makes it a slow burn. That would be the best way to go for these two characters. Amari, I did not like her at first because I thought she was just an annoying character. She was the cause of all the problems for Zeely. Zeely could have went home with her money and been happy until another problem arose, which would have eventually happened because she was a magi and her powers were gone. The ending made me scream out, "What the fuck?" Don't say that, because now apparently all powers are back. Like, what? What? And yeah. So 5 out of 5. Highly enjoyed it. Highly recommend it. If you are fans of Black Panther, read it. It reminded me of Black Panther. It reminded me of one scene from Star Wars The Force Awakens. I know that's way out of left field, but one scene in Star Wars The Force Awakens reminded me of was on my mind during this one part. And I'm hoping that book two's cover will be just as beautiful or even more pretty. Two more books. That was four. Got two more books I read. First one was Bonfire by Kristen Ritter. It's about this, again, it's about this girl who hasn't been to her hometown in 10 years. Why does everything take place 10 years later? I've realized that a lot, that 10 years later, is there a point to the 10 years later? I don't know, but whoop. This book is about a woman who has left her sleepy little town and comes back as an environmental lawyer, and she's wanting to find out why 4 mean girls in her high school got sick. There's been complaints in the previous years from the townspeople that the water is making them sick. And there's a big factory in their small town who has been cutting corners and doing cover-ups and bribing and getting up in the government and having high political officials say, no, they're fine. Or forging documents and saying, oh, we didn't do this. But it was actually happening. And so she's back in town to find out if the water is making people sick and to finally get Optimal to shut their doors. She was a loner in high school, so she didn't have friends. But she runs into people who were mean to her. The first one being Marisha, I think. Misha. And she was one of the mean girls. She would always whisper to her, like, you freaking all this. And Abby is looking into the Optimal records. She can't get her ex-childhood friend / the mean girl out of her mind, because she was painted as a girl who wanted attention, and the lead mean girl, she was the Regina George of this book. She ends up running away. Nobody knows what happened to her, and it takes so long in this book to find out what happened to her. Kristen Ritter put a slow burn on the actual events, but she made an unnecessary love triangle. Abby, why can I remember these names? Because this book is not memorable. There was one scene in the book at the very end, it's the action scene, that made me want more, and it just went way too fast. It was rushed. But there is an unnecessary love triangle between Abby, Condor, and Brent. And I forget what I rated it, and I might bump down my rating. It was a debut novel from Kristen Ritter. And the thing is, while I was reading it, I pictured Kristen Ritter as Abby. I just could not picture her as anybody else. Because she's an actress. I think she wrote this as picturing herself. Because that's how I did. I pictured her while reading it. But yeah, Bonfire, Kristen Ritter. The last book was a reread. I had to reread it because it was May 29th, and I was just like, well, I'm not going to sit on my butt for 3 days and not read anything. That's just done with all the books I need to read. Yeah. So I picked up The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. 5 out of 5. It's my favorite series, the Hunger Games trilogy. 5 out of 5. I read over details that I missed, and it actually made me cry. It made me laugh, and I realized that Seneca Crane is not mentioned anywhere in this book. Not once. And so I think the movie was, I always thought the movie got it wrong on some parts, but I take that back now, because they did not have to include Seneca Crane at all in the first movie, because he was not mentioned once. So including Seneca Crane in the movie was gold. Effie doesn't say that is mahogany, and I was scandalized. I wish they would have put more of Haymitch's scenes, like him falling off the stage. I wish they would put that in the movie. And I wish they would have got the woods scene right between Katniss and Gale. But anyways, I still 5 out of 5. Highly enjoyed it. I love this book. I read it in 3 days, from May 29th to May 31st. And I love the foil. I love these editions. This is my 3rd set of all of the books. And I'm going to be buying more. I can't wait for the new covers to come out for the 10th year. Plus, it's going to have new content. But yeah. But that was it for my May wrap up. If you enjoyed, please give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and comment down below what you read in May. Have you read any of these books? What's your thoughts and opinions on them? And I will see you in my next video. Bye.